Welcome back. In the last class, we looked at how the chemical shifts of different functional groups in a molecule vary with respect to the ppm values. So, we will today look at the different factors which influence these values, why these different functional groups, why do they come at different values of ppm, and this is how we can understand or assign or interpret the different NMR spectrum. So, let us start from the last slide which was shown in the last class. So, we looked at the chemical shift values of different functional groups here, which is shown here. So, we looked at the methyl groups which comes very off field shifted many times or always between 0 to 2.5 ppm. Then as you add more electronegative atoms like nitrogen, chlorine, oxygen, they start going what is called downfield. So, to recollect the last time we mentioned that anything which is on the right side typically towards 0, 1, 2, 3, we use the word upfield shifted, and the one which is towards lower values like 7, 8 and so on, we call them downfield shifted. So, remember this is just a qualitative notation to decide which is more upfield or downfield. Typically the center of the spectrum we talk about with respect to that. So, you can see that these aromatic functional groups, the hydrogen atom which is attached to an aromatic ring or amide amide protons, that means hydrogens attached to CO and H2, and these kind of functional groups they come very much downfield shifted, downfield in the lower field lower ppm value, higher ppm value, and this carboxylate group is very typical, it comes at a very high chemical shift value. So, looking from an NMR spectrum, looking at these functional groups, one looking at the peaks in these regimes, one can very easily identify the different functional groups. This is only a limited set of functional groups which is shown here. As we go further, we will see more and more detailed analysis of more different functional groups. So, now the question arises is what determines these kind of values, how do you decide that a particular hydrogen atom will come in the downfield region, off field region and so on. So, there are a variety of factors which affect or influence the chemical shifts, and these are listed here, some of them, these are the major factors. We will try to go one by one to these effects. So, the most important effect is inductive effect, and then followed by hybridization and so on. So, let us start from inductive effect. How does that influence the chemical shift value? So, what is an inductive effect? Inductive effect is a very simple concept. The idea is that suppose you have an electronegative atom such as chlorine, oxygen, nitrogen. These electronegative atoms, they draw the electron cloud towards themselves because they are more electronegative if they are attached to a more electropositive atom. So, for example, here you see a carbon is more electropositive compared to chlorine which is electronegative, and therefore, the electron cloud density around this carbon is removed, is less dense because it is been attracted towards the chlorine. Now, in what happens is if the hydrogen electron cloud is attracted towards the chlorine, the electron cloud around this hydrogen also gets pulled towards this chlorine. So, essentially chlorine is acting like pulling the electron cloud towards itself because of its strong electronegative nature, and if the electron density around this hydrogen is reduced, what happens is this, if you recollect in one of the class we discussed that the chemical shift comes because the electrons around the hydrogen atoms they shield this hydrogen nucleus proton from the main magnetic field. But now if I remove this electron, that is by reducing the electron density, the shielding effect is reduced. So, therefore, we use the word de-shielding. So, we say that chlorine de-shields the proton because it takes away the electron density from the carbon, which in turn takes away the density from proton. So, this is the electron withdrawing effect, and this is typically observed in functional groups such as NH, OH, carboxylate, chlorine, etc., and they shift. Because of that, this hydrogen now will appear at a chemical shift value very downfield shifted. So, this is what we saw in the previous slide, the hydrogen attached to a chlorine is comes downfield shifted. If there was another hydrogen here instead of a chlorine, then this would become a methylene group, CH2 group, and that would not have so much of de-shielding effect because hydrogen is not so electronegative compared to carbon, and therefore, a CH2 system, the hydrogen will now appear in the regular upfield shifted position. But because of the attachment of a chlorine atom to a carbon to which hydrogen is attached, this hydrogen becomes de-shielded, and appears at a low chemical shift or a higher chemical shift, where relatively higher chemical shift value. So, this is one of the simple idea of inductive effect, and this can be further extended to more systems. So, this is what is shown here for different X atoms. So, this is a simple CH3 X system, where X can be any other heteronucleus. It can be an electronegative element such as here. So, this is the most electronegative element in the periodic table, fluorine. So, when you have a CH3F system, the F withdraws the current electron density from carbon, which in turn withdraws from hydrogen. So, therefore, a CH3F, the hydrogen in CH3F comes at a very downfield shifted ppm, typically around 4.26 ppm. Okay. So, if you go to the oxygen, now the next electronegative in the series, you can see here that again oxygen pulls the electron density away from the CH3. So, we are all looking at CH3 and not at OH. So, the CH3 hydrogen atom now becomes deshielded because of this electronegative nature of oxygen, and that comes at a ppm value of around 3.4. So, you can see as linearly as the electronegativity decreases, the chemical shifts also decreases. So, this is going in hand with our idea that inductive effect is because of the electronegative nature. So, similarly, if you go to heavier halogens, we know that the electronegativity decreases. So, for example, if you look at a CH3I system, it is coming at also downfield shifted, which is 2.16 compared to methane, but it is upfield shifted compared to methyl chloride. So, you can see that between these two, both are halogens, I mean halides, but because chlorine is more electronegative than iodine, the inductive effect of iodine is less compared to the inductive effect of chlorine, and therefore, a CH3I molecule will have a hydrogen coming at upfield shifted compared to CH3Cl. And methane, which is all hydrogen atom, a symmetrical molecule, is the most upfield shifted, and it will come at 0. So, remember again we are looking at a reference. So, we saw in the previous class how we actually calculate chemical shift values. So, what typically we do is that we take a reference molecule, which can be any molecule of our choice. Typically a standard is used, which is agreed upon, an IUPAC standard, which is agreed upon by everyone, and that is tetramethylsilane. This is a tetramethylsilane, and where we use the word TMS. So, this is an organic compound which comes at a very upfield value. We arbitrarily or we forcefully assign this as 0. So, you have to keep in mind that it is not that the it does not have any chemical shift value. This tetramethylsilane, the hydrogen atom in tetramethylsilane is definitely has a chemical shift value, but we call it we put it as 0. So, when we put that as 0, that becomes our reference, and with respect to that all other chemical shifts are calculated. So, chemical shifts are calculated based on this idea. You can choose any other molecule as 0, but there are different reasons why we choose this particular as a reference compound. We will see that again in the later slides, in the later classes. One of the reason is this is a very inert compound. It will not interact with the compound in your sample, and therefore, and secondly, it is independent of the many conditions such as temperature and pH. There is of course slight variation, but those variations are very minor compared to what happens in your molecule, and therefore, it is and also it has a very strong signal. It has 3 into 4 12 types of hydrogens, because all CH3 are equivalent. We will look at equivalence later. So, the point here is that this tetramethylsilane is ideally suited for a molecule which is away from all molecules. The hydrogen atom comes at a very upfield shifted chemical shift, and at the same time it is an inert compound. So, that has been designated used as a reference all over the world, and that reference, with respect to that, you calibrate. So, we use the word calibration. Calibration is basically decide first, set that chemical shift of the reference to 0, and with respect to that you can measure any other chemical shift. So, this is the point to drive here is that chemical shift reference in a way is an arbitrary concept. It is arbitrarily you decide one particular hydrogen atom as a reference and measure with all respect to that. And we also saw in the previous class that chemical shift reference, the chemical shift value does not depend on the frequency, the spectrometer frequency when you measure in ppm scale. So, chemical shift in ppm scale does not change. So, if I say it's 0.23 ppm for CH4 methane, it will be the same in every spectrometer, whether it is a 300 megahertz, whether it is 600 or 900. This value does not change. The reason being we always set in that particular frequency reference as 0 ppm. So, everything is with respect to that remains constant. So, that is the idea which we discussed in the last class, and this will come up again later on. So, now let us look at what happens if there are more a little bit more at the inductive effect. So, you can see here now there are more chlorine atom attached compared to in methyl chloride. So, you see this is methyl chloride, methylene dichloride and chloroform. So, you see in chloroform there are 3 carbon atoms, 3 chlorine atoms sorry. So, when you have 3 number of chlorine atoms, you expect more electronegative effect, because 3 is more stronger in pulling electron density than 1 chlorine atom. So, when you have 3 chlorine atoms, they very strongly pull the electron density away from the carbon and hydrogen, and therefore, this hydrogen has very less electron density around itself, and if it has less electron density, it is less shielded from the main magnetic field, and therefore, it comes de-shielded. So, shielding is, remember, shielding is essentially protecting that nucleus from the main magnetic field. So, it pushes that hydrogen atom upfield near 0 ppm, but if you remove that shielding effect, it goes more downfield towards 7 or 8 ppm. So, this is what we are seeing here. Now, if I reduce the number of chlorine atoms, I make it only 2 chlorine atoms, then there is a reduction in the inductive effect, because 1 chlorine atom has gone and has been replaced by hydrogen, which is not at all as electronegative as chlorine. So, by reducing 1 chlorine atom, I have actually reduced the de-shielding effect, and therefore, this hydrogen is now less de-shielded compared to this original in the previous chloroform. Now, if I remove one more chlorine, this is what we saw in the last slide, a simple methyl chloride system. Here there is only one chlorine, but still it has a electronegative effect, and that results in a chemical shift value of 3 ppm. So, as I keep adding more and more chlorine, it is a simple linear increase in the chemical shift value. So, this is what is written here, that the effect increases with greater number of electronegative atoms. Now, we can do look at another molecule where we insert a CH2 between the hydrogen and the electronegative atom. So, if you see here, there are 2 CH2s and bromine is located far away. So, we are looking at this hydrogen atom. Keep in mind, we are looking at the one which is shown in red color. So, we are now looking at this hydrogen atom. So, there is one bromine directly attached to this carbon, and that is the electronegative effect again which we saw in the previous slides sorry. But now, if I insert a methylene group in between this bromine and CH2, I am reducing the effect of this bromine on this hydrogen. Why? Because now in between there is an interfering group, and this is located farther away from this hydrogen. So, its effect, electronegative effect in pulling the electron cloud from this hydrogen is reduced considerably, and that results in this hydrogen getting back into the shielded state, and therefore, the ppm value is going upfield. Similar is the situation if I insert one more CH2 in between, and this bromine now gets further away from this hydrogen, and therefore, it is much further again shielded. So, if I keep inserting CH2s in between, I keep going further and further away from bromine, and the electronegative effect of the terminal electronegative atom on this hydrogen will reduce, and slowly it will move towards the most shielded upfield shielded chemical shift value, that is, it will move closer towards methane. So, remember in the previous slide we saw that methane has the most upfield shift in the CH4, that is 0.23 ppm. So, that is what is shown here, that the effect decreases. That effect means the electronegative or a de-shielding effect of the electronegative atom decreases with increasing distance from hydrogen. So, we look at the second effect, which is very important in NMR spectroscopy, and that is called the hybridization. So, all of us who have learned in the college level or in the post undergraduate level what is hybridization of carbon. So, carbon hybridization, basically we talk about the s character, that is s orbital contribution to the bond to the orbital, and the p orbital. So, these two combine to form this sp3 or sp2 or sp kind of orbitals which are involved in the covalent bond. So, if you look at CH4, the CH4 system, it is sp3 hybridization, and that is what we saw, it is 0.23 ppm. But now, if I have a double bond, or similarly if you look at ethane, also is an sp3 system, and its value is somewhere around 0.86. But if I go to sp2 hybridization, what happens is, now I have basically attached, now I have a pi orbital, I have an sp orbital and to which the proton is attached, and what happens is that has more less spherical. So, you can see that it has s character is the least in this case, but here as you go to this sp2 hybridization, the p character increases and therefore, the electron moves closer towards the carbon and it moves away from the hydrogen. So, in a sp2 hybridization system, the electron moves away from hydrogen, which is similar to the effect we saw that there is an electronegative atom attached to this. In a similar manner, here the electron density is pulled away from hydrogen, and so much so that this hydrogen becomes really downfield shifted and de-shielded, and a de-shielded value is around 5.28 ppm. So, this is the typical effect of hybridization. Similarly, if we go to sp hybridized system, it will be even more dramatic. Second, another important concept, the third factor which influences a chemical shift is basically what is called as magnetic anisotropy. So, what is magnetic anisotropy? The word anisotropy means it is not spherical in all directions, or it is not uniform in all directions, which means it lacks isotropy. So, isotropy is opposite of isotropy is anisotropy. So, what does anisotropy mean? It means that suppose if you take a molecule like this with this carbon carbon single bond, the electron density around this system is not uniform, it is not spherical. There are this side you have more electron density on this and this compared to this side of the bond. So, whenever you have more electron density on the top of this bond and bottom of this bond, that region becomes shielded, because remember shielding is directly related to electron density. The more electron density you pack around a hydrogen, you get upfield shifted, means lower chemical shift value, and the more you remove that electron density from a hydrogen, the more de-shielded it is. So, essentially de-shielding and de-shielding are directly coming from the electron density in a molecule. So, therefore, the presence of a pi bond, so this is what is written here, the presence of a pi bond or a pi system generally affects the chemical shift. So, if you look at this particular system, this particular region is more shielded, I mean more electron density here compared to less and less. So, shielding and de-shielding is something which we can very easily calculate nowadays using computational methods. There are a lot of softwares where if you give the structure of the molecule, it can calculate the electron density, and based on the electron density it can also calculate the shielding factor or de-shielding factor. So, this is how computationally nowadays is done. So, idea is that depends on where the molecule is, which side of the bond the molecule is located, the hydrogen atom will either appear downfield shifted. If it is here, that is D will be upfield shifted. So, this is shown here in this example in a cyclohexane. You can see that this equatorial hydrogen atom is now coming in the de-shielded region. It comes, you can see it is one of these three shown here, it comes in the de-shielded region of this bond, this particular carbon carbon bond, but this axial hydrogen comes somewhere in this region. If you look at this particular carbon carbon single bond, and because of that it now appears upfield shifted. So, that means the two hydrogens attached to the same carbon atom do not have the same chemical shift value. One chemical shift, that is equatorial, is de-shielded, whereas axial is shielded, upfield shifted. So, this is how the magnetic anisotropy affects the chemical shift values of hydrogen atom. So, this is some more examples of the anisotropy effect. See, again if you look at this particular molecule, there is a pi bond here. So, this particular region is in the shielded region, that is more electron density here compared to this region of the carbon. So, if any hydrogen which is located in this side will be de-shielded, means it will come at a lower ppm value, I mean higher ppm value compared to a hydrogen atom which is located on above this C double bond C. So, that is what is shown here in this particular molecule. So, we see there is a pi bond here. So, this hydrogen atom comes right on top of this pi bond, and it comes therefore in the shielded zone, and when it comes there its chemical shift value is 1.07, which is relatively upfield shifted compared to a hydrogen here which is downfield shifted, because it comes away from this. Now, the same like in the previous slide we saw that equatorial and axial, here also you can see if I go to this side, that is the equatorial, it is basically downfield shifted compared to the endo hydrogen which is axial position, and that is upfield shifted. So, this is how we can figure out that why a particular hydrogen atom is upfield or downfield, depending on the structure of the molecule. So, you see the structure plays a very important role here to determine the chemical shift value. A very important another moiety, a functional group in chemistry is carbonyl groups, aldehyde groups and ketone groups. So, you can see in those kind of systems again carbonyl is a very anisotropic moiety, carbonyl C double bond O, and this region if you have any hydrogen coming in this side is shielded region, whereas this side is deshielded. So, this hydrogen lies in the deshielded region and therefore, it comes very downfield at around 9 to 10 ppm, which we saw in one of the slides where we looked at the chemical shift values of different functional groups. The aldehyde protons come at a very downfield shifted because of the fact that in the carbonyl functional group they lie at the deshielded portion of the molecule. If something comes in this side, it becomes very highly shielded. So, we look at the next effect which is known as the mesomeric effect, and mesomeric effect is basically coming because of the resonance conditions. So, this is a very simple example here. You can see that in this particular molecule what happens is that it resonates between two different configurations, two different structures. So, you can see here there is a negative charge here and that comes to positive. So, when you say negative charge, what it means is that basically it has accumulated a negative charge. So, whenever it accumulates a negative charge, it will undergo a shielding, because whenever you have a negative charge on a carbon, it has accumulated electron density and that influences the electron density around this hydrogen. So, this hydrogen will now become downfield shifted, and similarly if you look at this particular case, this hydrogen will become upfield shifted because it has now acquired more of positive charge. Sorry, this is upfield upfield shifted because of the negative charge accumulated on the carbon, whereas this becomes upfield shifted. Similarly, if you look at this picture here, again there is a resonance effect, and what happens is because it accumulates a positive charge because of resonance, you can see that this carbon now has become positively charged. What it means? It means that it has lost electron density. So, it has a propensity to lose electron density towards carbonyl. It is alpha beta unsaturated system. So, because of losing the electron density, it also in turn affects this hydrogen, because the electron density around this is also reduced because everywhere. So, because of reduction in electron density around this hydrogen, it appears at a very downfield shifted value of 7 ppm compared to what you get in a normal if there was no resonance. So, this is basically how we look at the different mesomeric effects, that if there is a positive versus negative charge accumulated on this particular carbon and how that carbon influences the hydrogen attached to that particular case. So, we will now look at some more examples of mesomeric effect. So, this is in the case of ethylene molecule, there are all hydrogens are equivalent. Now, what is the chemical equivalence? We will discuss that in the next few slides or next class, but what is important to understand here is the mesomeric effect. How does it influence? So, let us say we add a ketone group. So, let us say we add a ketone group to this molecule. So, this is this original molecule. So, the values of hydrogens they are all same, they come at around 5.3 ppm, but when I attach a ketone which is electron withdrawing group, that electron is withdrawn towards this, and because of that these hydrogens get there is a positive charge accumulated here. This is similar to what we saw in the previous slide, it is a resonance effect, and because of the positive charge here, these two hydrogens now lose electron density because all the electron density is being withdrawn towards this oxygen. So, because of this loss of electron density, they will start going downfield shifted, means higher ppm value, and that is basically what is how it can be explained. So, you can see here if you look at another system where let us say you have a methoxy group. A methoxy group is opposite of a carbonyl group, it actually donates electron. So, this is what is shown here. So, if you look at this particular methyl vinyl ether here, that this CH2 this actually donates electron. So, this electron all the way increases in density towards this side. So, you can see that this carbon now accumulates more electron density around itself compared to this particular ketone here. Here it was a withdrawing effect and here it is a electron donating effect. Because of the electron donation, the electron cloud density around this increases, which in turn affects the electron density around this, because they are also pushed towards higher electron density, and that remember again higher electron density means shielding, lower electron density means de-shielding. So, because of the higher electron density around this hydrogen, they have become a field value compared to this original 5.3 ppm. So, between these two systems, now we can explain why these two hydrogens comes upfield because of this electron donating nature of the methyl group, methoxy group, and in this case it is now downfield shifted compared to this. So, when our 6.11 is higher ppm value, so it is downfield shifted, and that is primarily because of the electron withdrawing effect of this ketone group. So, this can be further extended to aromatic systems, where we can see in alanine case. In an alanine case, there is a electron donating group. So, the electron donating group increases the electron density. So, if you look at this particular structure, the resonance structures of alanine, what happens is you can draw a resonance structures of alanine, and that will can show that actually it donates electron to the ring, and which in turn donates the electron towards this hydrogen atom, and because of that this particular molecule, this particular hydrogen atom becomes upfield shifted. So, we will look at more of this aromatic systems and more different effects of the chemical shifts in the next class, and where we will see that how the other effects such as ring current, hydrogen bond and so on influence the chemical shifts, and that all is based on the structure of the molecule. Thank you.